Week 1 recap. Let's just jump right into it. First game, Pain Train over Professor S. People are talking about me ranking Professor S number 1. I don't know what I was smoking. No, very solid team. Looking back, would have I ranked it? Obviously knowing what I know now, but even looking back, I don't know fully. I think I might have been a little tainted by how strong the team was last year. But I'm not going to walk back on any of my takes just yet. No overreacting to week 1. Let's talk about Pain Train, because potentially it was more so them being underestimated. I did relook at this team, and there's a lot to like, for sure. And I think I did say that in the preview. I mean, Amari Cooper on his own. I hope I said it in your recap. I said in almost every recap I did that my guy coming into this season was Amari Cooper. So I fortunately for at least a week get to ride that out with most leagues. If I didn't say it in this league, then maybe I'm just making it up. But I really do say it. I do say it in almost every recap. I love Amari this year. I like him way more than CD. CD also did well, and he's a good receiver. But I think Amari, just the way he was going with Dak last year before the injury, it's foolish not to draft him early, and no one drafted him early. Where we drafted him, I think he was a steal. So that's definitely going well for you. What potentially indicated that your team might not be as strong as it did this week? Well, I don't think Jarvis Landry is going to be a serviceable fantasy option without Odell Anderson to start. I'm not sure if he's someone that you're slotted to start consistently, but once Odell's back, I do not like Jarvis Landry this year. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire showing the reason I didn't love him so much coming into the season. He's obviously on a great offense. I think he's going to have a solid season, but I think he was a little bit overdrafted. I don't think he was a great value where he was because that team just does not lean on the run. And also, I think I have some questions around how good of a running back he is also, but he looks solid. No major critiques. He'll do fine for you. But the real reason I think I didn't really love your team was Jalen Hurts. And that I'm going to continue to say. I still don't love the targets that he has there, although Devontae Smith looks good. I just don't think that the Eagles' offense is going to be super productive. So I guess we'll wait and see on that. It's definitely a take. I'm not a hill I'm going to die on. But I just think that this team still is like a B plus team. I don't put it with the A minuses, but it's a strong team. Professor S also probably should be a BB plus team. I think these teams are pretty even. I will say my only quote criticizing Professor S's team was Julio was the only pick I have an issue with. Woods and Kupp I'd like more. And I stick by that. I don't know why I said that and then still gave you a great grade. As you can tell, I'm kicking myself, but I nailed it with some other teams. I think Professor S is still going to be a playoff team 100%. I think the Mostert injury was really, really difficult. And I think Mostert is going to have a really great season, so it's really tough on you that happened. And then, of course, what Ayuk, your whole SF investment really went awry because the Ayuk thing is not looking great either. But I really love the depth on this team. Tyson Williams on the bench is immediate plug-in. I think Javonte Williams is a better running back than Melvin Gordon. I think he's really going to have a role. Corey Davis looks like everyone projected him to look. And Antonio Brown, I hope I also said in this recap, is a great start. I really hate Mike Evans, love Antonio Brown and Godwin. I hope I said what I felt in these recaps. Anyway, so as you could tell, I'm insecure with Professor S losing, but let's move forward. Glory hole over the Prophet. I'm happy I got this one right. The Prophet I gave a C to. And I don't think there's any hope for the team. So if they won week 1 or blew someone out, then I would have to just cancel my recaps. But I think with Glory hole, let's talk about them first. I think there were a lot of underperformances. Like you still got to win despite a lot not going your way. Specifically, Aaron Jones 4.2. Aaron Jones is going to be fantastic. He's going to be fantastic this year. This is a total blip on the radar, so I'm not concerned about that. Justin Jefferson, only catching 5 of his 9 targets or 71 yards. That's gonna be well below his average for the season. In this kind of league, he'll be averaging at least 16 points, 16 to 20 points. He got you only 12.5, and then Terry McLaurin also only 4 targets, 4 catches. The quarterback is a little concerning to switch to Heineke, but McLaurin, you saw his catch. He's remarkably talented, and he'll perform well as well. So I mean, you're 3 of your 4 best players underperforming to that degree, and you get to see how good TJ Hawkinson is, which was so obvious coming to the season. there's a lot to be really excited about for Team Glory Hole. Total contender, 100%. Team The Prophet, I unfortunately don't have a new opinion for Team The Prophet. There's always a team that I kind of am tough on. Obviously, Mahomes is remarkable, but this team is just not ready for game day. I mean, it's kind of like bringing a Pee Wee team out to play. I'll say college football, not the NFL. That'd be too mismatched. This wide receiver group on week 1, having to start McCole Hardman, Jacoby Myers, and I guess that's it. But I don't love AJ Brown overall, but he's still fine. He's still obviously good. I just, for where he drafted, I don't like him. But to have to start Hardman and Jacoby Myers is just, on week 1, is just real tough. It's only downhill for this team. I know you get Odell back, I believe. Let me confirm. Yeah, you get Odell back. This team's just not it. This team is just not it. Obviously, it's early in the season. Waivers and trades, you could fight your way back. But if you run this roster every week, including an injured Saquon, you can't expect anything good to happen. The third game, Sons of Chaos beating Team the Chairman 198.62 to 136.1. Sons of Chaos, it's a good week to invest in the Bucks, of course. I said before the season, I think the Bucks are a good team. I like AB for where he was drafted. Hated Mike Evans where he was drafted. I think Godwin's good. Where he was drafted is fine. I don't like where Bucks players went for their ADP. I think Brady was overdrafted. As I mentioned, the other players. Fournette and Ronald Jones. I hated Ronald Jones going into the season. I think he was overdrafted. I still don't like Fournette. They're going to split. It's a mess of the backfield. So with all that being said, for a team that invests so heavily in the Bucks, of course, they play the way they did. They'll win 100%. They're not going to throw as much as we saw, though. I don't believe because they had to with the game script against the Cowboys, who were also throwing a ton. I just don't expect the same production. Have I been wrong before? Of course. But I think with a heavy investment in the Bucks, Sons of Chaos is going to have a lot more trouble than they did this week winning a game. But I do think Robert Woods and J-Rob are both going to be drastically more effective than you saw this week. I still like both a lot this season. Woods a little bit more than J-Rob, but both of them I definitely like, and I think Devontae Smith on your bench is an incredible asset, so that's definitely going your way. For Team the Chairman, I also think there were a ton of underperformances that I wouldn't be concerned with at all. Josh Allen and Diggs combo, I mean, that's going to be dynamic this whole season. Don't even blink about it. Don't let anyone offer you a trade and try and disrespect you and think that the value's lower. Come on. Zeke also, while I wasn't super high on him at like the top 4, top 5 pick, he's a clear first rounder, still has a ton of value. I mean, I honestly feel better about Zeke after this week, given how effective that offense is. He should have had that reception touchdown, but even despite that, I mean, he's going to get so many opportunities at the goal line. This is a no-brainer first round RB1. I have no concern with Zeke. So their stocks are all going up. I did mention I hate Mike Evans. I still hate Mike Evans. He'll have big weeks. There's going to be times where I'm going to have to come on this recap and say, like, fuck, Mike Evans got 40 points. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet on that. But it's going to be only probably, I'm making up numbers, but people who make up numbers seem like they know what they're talking about. 20% of weeks he'll have those kind of weeks. The other 80%, I don't like the option of Mike Evans as a starting wide receiver. And then you lose Judy, which is a very rough injury. I think Myles Gaskin, a clear plug-in. You could put him in the flex. I still like Gaskin this year despite a very iffy week. The next matchup, Livin' La Vida Yoda over El Captain. For Livin' La Vida Loda, what an annoyingly complex name. You didn't get anything out of Najee, but he got only running back to get 100% of the touches. So I think Najee's going to be fantastic for you. I think Swift is a fantastic option as well, and he proved that this week. So your RB group is fantastic. The issue I had coming into the season that I still have is this wide receiver group. I mean, I was high on Brandon Cooks compared to where he was drafted also, but he's not someone that you want to have to start every week. But if you do, it's fine. But for him to be your potentially strongest wide receiver, that's where the trouble comes in, because Adam Thielen had a great week, very promising. He'll be serviceable, but also shouldn't be a wide receiver 1. And then Tyrell Williams, of course not wide receiver 1. I think he got banged up, but either way, he shouldn't even be started. So what you have here is 2 guys who would be a very solid third option at wide receiver, maybe decent second ones, both serving as your wide receiver 1, and Tyrell Williams, a guy who shouldn't be a wide receiver starting. On your bench, Galladay I don't like, Ruggs I don't like, and Claypool I don't like. So you have guys, you're gonna have decisions every week. You could go off matchup. You could stay afloat, but you're not winning the league with those receivers. So I would expect to see a trade from this team. at some point this season, probably giving up one of those running backs for some good wide receiver help to balance the team out a bit more and to really become a contender. El Captain, my boy El Captain, this is probably the team I have the least to say about this week because nothing was too surprising. A lot of these stat lines were pretty predictable except for Devontae Adams underperforming, but that's going to happen. I mean, he's got 10.6. That's not like a fire drip. Like, it's not like a code red, but so it was a bad week, but no concerns with his overall production. People I'm concerned about, T. Higgins is someone I was low on this season coming to this season, but I never really understood the hype on. He got a touchdown, but he only got 5 targets, 4 catches, 58 yards. I just, with all the options there, and I don't know. And there was OT in that game, so he also had ample opportunity. I just don't like T. Higgins, so for me, from this week, I got even lower on T. Higgins, which is weird because he got 15.8, but I'm just giving you my take. Mike Davis also definitely I was concerned about. I don't like the way he looked running. I don't think his role in the offense is as workhorse-y as I anticipated. 15 carries is good, but I don't think that offense looks so great. I'm a little concerned about Mike Davis too. Both are guys to continue to start, but that's the only comment. I mean, the team really didn't embrace too much shock this week. It just wasn't an amazing week for, I think, a middle-of-the-road team. So where did I rank that team at the end? I don't even want to see. El Captain. I hope it wasn't at the top. Okay, 5. That's exactly how I feel. Very middle-of-the-road team. Okay. I mean, it's only been a week. Watch at the end of the season. It literally, the standings will be the opposite of what I said. 10th place wins, 9th, hopefully not. Definitely not, actually. The 10th place team sucks. Sorry about that. Team of Profit. Okay, so the last matchup, Crucifier over TBD. So my number 2 team that I still absolutely love every time I see it gets the win despite Aaron Rodgers putting up 0.82 points. Is that insane? Yes, that's insane. Do I think that's going to continue? I do not. Of course not. Aaron Rodgers, fantastic. The offseason stuff's probably pretty annoying, and week 1 is just, it's the first week of action. Like, it always takes teams to adjust. Never overreact to week 1. No one make a ridiculous trade, please, I beg you. Don't trade a guy like Aaron Rodgers away. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of underperformances, though. Ridley underperforming, I'm not concerned about that. Chris Carson underperforming, I'm not concerned about that. Dalvin Cook, with a good week, he fumbled, so that was a little frustrating, but it didn't really impact his stats, actually. Cooper Kupp with an amazing week. As we said, we love Kupp and Woods this year. DK Metcalf with a also decent week. Not as good as Lockett. You're starting Lockett and Metcalf. I think that is, in a league like this, it does make sense. I'd have an issue if it was like a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, but in a league like this, that totally makes sense. So I think my critique of this team might have been tight end with Dallas Goedert. He got a touchdown, which is great. I don't like him this season, but outside of that, I mean, this team is looking good with Edmonds on the bench too, and Pittman I think is going to be playing better. I really like Crucifier still. So to be able to get a win like that without Rodgers is remarkable. Really like that team. TBD was my 4th favorite team, so this was like a powerhouse matchup, I guess. I'm not really concerned. Of course, I didn't like Tannehill. I think I said in the recap so much, and he had a bad week, but you assume that he's going to be fine. Definitely a startable quarterback. Eckler, a little bit concerning. No receptions. So I think your team obviously is going to ride a ton on Eckler. You're going to need him to get involved in the passing game 100%. So we'll stay tuned for that. Keenan Allen did what we expect him to do. 13 targets, amazing. Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns, very good news. It's a good sign for you. But also the fact that Kenyon Drake, he was involved, but I thought he'd be even more involved. The fact that he's only coming in like obvious passing downs and like some change of pace, like that's a good thing. Josh Jacobs is still the main running back there, and I think that's a great thing. Allen Robinson also underperformed, 11 targets, no concerns with him. So honestly, I don't really have concerns with TBD. Also, no major comment with TBD at this point. I think it's still going to be a probable playoff team. That just depends on making sure Eckler gets involved in the passing game, because if not, then of course that's a huge downgrade. So overall, do my rankings change much after week 1? Not really. If I were being honest with myself, that 3-way tie at A- that I gave El Professor the tiebreaker to because of last season, I probably would have put him 3rd. And I think the team that I could have underrated is, in fact, that first team, Pain Train. But it's so early. I think, obviously, anything could happen. I'd love to see trades in this league. You know what? I actually didn't even look to see if there was a trade. I'm assuming there was no trade, but I didn't actually look this time, so I should. No trades that I know of. So, cool. Yeah, week 1's done. Such a long season to go.